checked the temperature. It is, in fact, 105 degrees. And we were back there in the shade, so that's good. We were a little cooler than the 105 that was stated there. We were like at 104. So that's hot. I think we would all admit that that's hot. There's other people there, bro. And you're in the wrong lane, and I have the right way. So that's what you call a bulldog move with a bigger truck there. I mean, we all know physics, right? This little bitty tiny Lexus could certainly not do battle with that there. We know that. That is just plain A, B, C. But what just occurred there is a very interesting phenomenon in human nature. I like to call it, it's a little bit of a psychological game. Let's call it that. Because it's a human process that actually isn't gender specific. And it's not even force specific or strength related. There's certain keys that allow one to be successful. So let's stop being so hyperbolic or parabolic, parabolic, and land the plane. We're talking about sales. Sales is very difficult. It's the most difficult profession out there, in my opinion, by a lot. And ultimately, not to simplify, but there is sales and manufacturing. Dun dun dun. No, not really. But when you think about it from a concept in a capitalist society, sales and manufacturing, in simplest terms, are what exist. I'm very fortunate because I have a great education, and that's thankful to the people in my community that stressed education for all of us. And more importantly, your parents have got to put that inside of you, or else it's just a tough deal. Both of my parents were teachers. One of the things about education is that you never can learn enough, and then when you think you do, you realize the paradox of learning kicks in, and you just don't know anything at all. Nothing. You're still learning, which is great because it means it's endless. In sales, there are certain things that just work. They just work. And then there's certain things that just do not. You learn based on what works through failure and reversing course and then starting again. You lose that deal. You just don't get it. And then you analyze the game tape. What did I say? What did they say? What did I not hear? Actually, the last question that I asked, what did I not hear, is the only real question that may be relevant in that particular deal or analyzing what went wrong. The reason I say that is because a true salesperson, an aficionado, someone that's a master of the sales craft, understands that there's a 90-10 relationship, and the 90% is the listening portion of the relationship. The 10% is the speaking. Unfortunately, the culture of our country, and I can't speak for others, is to hard close someone. You are going to talk them into your position, and then they're going to fold, basically, white flag, and then they're going to buy from you. That's kind of what's sold, to all of us, and we like it. I mean, it's it's fantasy. It's not how it actually works. And also, one of my favorite, the always be closing that we all know, is just, it's actually dated now. It's dated. It's dated because you can't talk to people that way. But additionally, it's not really effective. The alpha portion of sales is less of an emphasis than one may think. In fact, it's not even truly desired in most situations. The reason is because, people are people. And as people, we are all vulnerable, whether we show it or not. When you're in sales, specifically to tax, because I'm not in retail or other things, you're providing a service. So, the art, if you want to call it that, and I do, and it's because it's so difficult to do sales that it needs to be looked at as a special craft, something that it takes a high level of efficiency to master. Unfortunately, there's not really the degree necessary to do a lot of sales jobs, which makes it seem as if anyone can do it. That's not true. Pattern analysis tells you that. If you go to a business owner and you say, hey, what's your ROI on new salesperson X? They will tell you, it's probably not as good as seasoned veteran, who's been doing this 10 years or more and keeps up with the education and is constantly evolving within their industry. You just really can't beat that. You can't. It's just a level of seasoning that is impossible to replace. Now, I say that because for the most part, I imagine this broadcast is being seen by 6, 7, or 8 Americans. And so here, sales is key. It's a big deal, right? Because it governs a lot of our economy. And we put a priority on the salesperson, salesman, saleswoman, salesperson. That's it. That's huge. They bring in the money, right? Without the money, you can't provide the service. You can't ship the good. You can't do the non-for-profit, right? You can't take care of your purpose or your mission. So you can't really understate the importance of a good salesperson, good sales team, good sales strategy, good sales AI, whatever the case may be. I'm fairly fortunate. We're going to go over here because we're trying to find coffee, to be quite candid with you. The best salesperson I've had the pleasure of working with is a gentleman by the name of, we'll just use his last name. It's Bell. And you can look at Vegas. You don't need to look at the street. Vegas is Vegas. He, and this is deductive reasoning through studying and listening to his calls, is a master of closing, as you call it, on a boiler room floor or, sales unit. But I'm not sure I've ever heard this gentleman raise his voice outside of, men playing poker or, at the beach and you splash them with water. Well, but with respect to sales, he's as systematic as one would ever be, without the appearance of being scripted, because he is not. He's responding in real time to data that's being provided to him instantly. And due to knowledge he's had for many years, he processes that data and caters the response to the client, and it is exact. Not only is it exact with respect to the analytics, what needs to be done, the tax law involved, but the delivery of the message is rhetorically perfect. There's not a statement that is confrontational. There's not something that triggers the client while he's delivering that message. You have to understand, this is an art. This is, it's everything without it being anything. Because the appearance is that anyone can just talk to someone. Not true. Not in sales, no. Because what you find is that investment of X amount of dollars and someone is just talking to someone yields a very poor result over time. Now, you can take a very small amount of money and have a Mr. Bell, and you can make a lot because he's hearing what others are missing. Actually, he's listening while others are speaking, just to keep it very succinct. Now, I had the pleasure of working with this gentleman for many years. We're going to park here. This is a very important point. We'll get coffee in a moment. Without gentlemen and ladies and people like the Chris Bells of the world, there is no business for any of us, right? So you have your, you have your bell and so forth, and so that's your go-to, right? And then, as Sam Walton, who also graduated from my high school, the Columbia, Missouri, Hickman Kewpies, and additionally he went to the University of Missouri. This is my hometown. I was born and raised, so I take a little pride. Sam Walton's huge. We know Walmart. Everybody goes there. You've bought several items there. We know that. So he mastered sales and manufacturing. We can say that and acknowledge it, all of us uniformly. I've seen some of the best salespeople. You have seen some of the best businesses out there, as have I. I've seen some great service as well, and that's really where the two must come together. If you will, sales and manufacturing, or in other words, sales and service. Because we're in a service industry, so if you sell that offer and compromise, one must deliver the offer and compromise that you promised to the client during your discussions upon analyzing the data that was provided to you by the client. So that's your responsibility. You sold it, you service it, and then you go for the result that the IRS will allow in my little world. And it's great because the way I do it, the way the Mr. Bells of the world do it is very exact. Client, you have provided this data. Here is your substantiation. We are charging you X. We have now provided this to the IRS. The IRS has made this determination, and now this is your new reality. You must follow these terms. We shake hands, we part ways as friends, and ultimately, that is a job well done. You missed the best part of the Mr. Bells of the world. See, they did not promise a result on any specific program because they've known for decades that the end decision is made by the IRS in our little world. So there's no promise of something that a third party that is in fact Goliath and David, if you want to look at it that way, is going to determine. And they also have access to more data than any of us ever will. Tax return from when they threw the paper out when they were 14, they were doing the Tribune or whatever, and then that first job at Taco Bell, and then how they got that job in college. See, all these things are data points that the government absolutely knows that most of us don't need to know for the service we're providing to them, the client. However, it's relevant when the government says, this is our determination. They have big data, bigger than any of us. And that's the way it should be. If you're going to give someone a deal, this is not poker or some type of gambling event that's done here in this city very well to varying degrees of success. No. The government knows what you're holding in your brokerage account. They know what you have in your bank account in real time. They absolutely know what you earned for the most part. And they can calculate, guess, and or with algorithms, find out what's under the mattress based on your zip code, what you did in the past, and so forth. So it's kind of sort of really exact what the government knows. I've been in trainings years and years ago. And IRS officials have said very clearly at the start of meetings, we can prove that a homeless individual requires X amount of dollars to survive the full calendar year, which could also be taxed, was the point. What we do in some ways is exact, which means that the art of selling, quote unquote, the deal or the service that you're going to provide is of the most importance. In most cases, it's the first person you speak to. So they must be trained or licensed or qualified to do that service. They must be proficient in listening. They must also know the code, what can and cannot be done, and have the mental discipline and wherewithal not to overpromise because they want money, but to provide clarity with respect to the service they're going to provide. That's a professional right there, boy. And I'll tell you what, I'll take that person and go back to back and go out here and serve our American public, because that's what it's about. We know it. Unfortunately, it's become more commonplace to just look to take someone's money and any strategy to do it. I can't sleep at night that way. Neither can the Mr. Bells of the world. Neither can any of us that really believe that we're in a society. And though I don't know that person waiting for their Starbucks, I'll be there next. They may call me later, or I may go to their business. And so around and around we go. There's a responsibility with respect to every job in a tax business. And the most important, with some respects, is sales. Not because of money, but because there needs to be a match between what was told to client day one and hopefully what is provided last day, with the complete understanding that the final decision is not made by either party talking on the phone day one, it's made by the IRS. And it's that tact in expressing that message that separates those that are salespeople from those that are sales professionals. You can't find enough Mr. Bells. More importantly, what you find when you see that level of proficiency in an individual, in a business, and this is probably in life in general, but I'm just a small Latin Paul, you probably find that they have an immaculate life from start to finish. It's just a discipline. You either have it or you don't. We don't need to apologize for having it. It's the only way to live in our world. So, this Mr. Bell, by the way, is not a part of our staff here. He's not. But great is great. The standard is the standard. And one of the things about a society is we all learn from someone. And that someone learned from someone else. And the person that I speak to next may teach me something that I've never known. Hopefully you got something out of this. We're not going to be gambling today. We took a little bit more time to express our message, but the message is solid. Just like good old Sam Walton from the Columbia, Missouri, Hickman High School, Kewpies. We can sell them up. Look at that board. Let's ring a bell. But we're also going to ship the goods, or in my case, in our case, we're going to service that client. God bless.